Joining us now to make sense of some of this is author and political strategist Roger Stone. Roger, I am baffled that they're trotting her out to be this author, and now she's not. And when you listen to her talk, she clearly looks like a very partisan actor. What's going on there?
I really hope she gets the psychiatric help that she needs, because she's clearly suffering from a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. Whether she wrote the report or whether she didn't, where is the proof? Could she please produce the proof, the actual evidence that Donald Trump was favored by the Russians and that Russian intelligence interceded in the election to try to help him win over Hillary Clinton? Now, let me point out that Tulsi Gabbard has produced an enormous, a mountain of information and classified documents proving that there was no bias by the Russians, that there was no Russian collusion, and that John Brennan and other actors basically created this false narrative. More shockingly today, a whistleblower comes forward. Well, let's back up. First, Kash Patel finds documents in a burn bag in the FBI, and when you examine them, they are the annex of John Durham's report, where we learn definitively that Hillary Clinton herself approved the entire Russian collusion hoax, specifically to distract from her illegal emails and also to demonize Trump. And then the FBI director, Kash Patel, gives this information to Chairman Grassley, which is how we now know about it. So the mountain of proof gets higher and higher, yet John Brennan, who is really the arch villain of this entire drama, he's the guy who basically wedges the Steele dossier, which he knows is a fabrication paid for by Hillary Clinton's campaign, into the intelligence community report to Obama so they can use it to rationalize the FISA warrants that were used to spy on Trump's campaign, and then rationalize the appointment of special counsel Silent Bob Mueller. So just the other day, you see Brennan on MSNBC saying, when he's asked about the Steele dossier, he says, well, it could be true. He knows it's a fraud. Andrew Weissman, the de facto head of the Mueller investigation, perhaps the most corrupt investigator in federal history, the most corrupt prosecutor in federal history, he knew back to his days as general counsel of the FBI that the Steele dossier was a fugazi, but he still used it to rationalize Mueller's witch hunt.
And I'm so glad you're bringing in these different names and how they connect to each other, because after a certain point, the community gets smaller and smaller. These people know each other, and it suddenly starts to make sense that they do know each other, because different actors seem to be covering for each other. We've had Peter Schweitzer on highlighting the fact that, one often overlooked but very public detail was the fact that Gina Haspel, who would go on to become President Trump's first-term CIA director, she knew Chris Steele. She was in London at the time the Steele dossier was being created. It's very difficult to imagine a scenario where she did not know about it. And then you look back at her connections to John Brennan. She would not be in London were it not for John Brennan promoting her there again. So there's all these ties. It's a very messy and dirty series of connections where everyone seems to be protecting and covering for each other inside these levels in the IC.
Well, look, Tulsi Gabbard is the real hero here. She has brought the receipts, and there's more coming. But at the same time, I think it's important to recognize that Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, putatively a Republican, has sponsored legislation kind of masquerading as a cost-cutting bill. But in fact, he wants to take away the Director of National Intelligence's authority to declassify documents and give it back to the FBI and the NSA. Now, Senator Cotton supported Tulsi Gabbard's appointment as the Director of National Intelligence, but think about this. He would not only cut the office in half, that's a window dressing. It's to make the bill masquerade as a cost-cutting measure. But more importantly, it shifts the authority to declassify documents from the Director of National Intelligence back to the FBI and the National Security Agency. Those were the chief perps in the entire Russian collusion hoax. So, and there continues to be efforts inside the deep state to continue to hide things. It's interesting that Susan Miller, who's at the top of the segment, her best friend is Caroline Kennedy, the daughter
Yes.
of our slain president, John F. Kennedy Jr.
Yes.
She should tell Caroline to release the William Manchester interview. It's an audio with Jacqueline Kennedy, because in that audio, Jacqueline Kennedy said she suspected Lyndon Johnson's involvement in her husband's death. Caroline, release that audio. Give it to Anna Paulina Luna's committee so the American people can hear it.
Wow. So we've got Caroline Kennedy now. She's a mega donor. She's an Obama appointee at one point. Caroline Kennedy, this friendship with Miller, I guess, could be significant. I mean, I guess it's just association with someone who is an active member of the Obama administration and a mega donor. But to paint Susan Miller as the somehow nonpartisan, credible CIA analyst or officer seems like a stretch that's not going to go very far.
Another key point in that interview you just showed, the guy on the other side is Mike Isikoff. Mike Isikoff is an FBI shill. He is the guy who first reported and disseminated the Steele dossier. So he has no room to talk. He knew it was a fraud when he pushed it as well. These people are delusional, and after a while, they begin to believe their own BS. I'm certain that the Mueller prosecutors, after they told two federal judges that they had probable cause to charge me with treason, conspiracy against the United States, counterfeiting, money laundering, unauthorized access to a government computer. Of course, they had no evidence of these things. They went through my 1 million emails, all of my text messages. You know how much Russian collusion they found? None. But they were certain it was there. They just couldn't find it.
Charge the crime and find the evidence later. That's kind of what the whole episode seems to be illustrating even more clearly now, especially with this latest declassified documents dump. Roger, we're out of time. I look forward to visiting with you again soon as we start discussing more about what this document drop has released. But thank you for walking us through all of that. It's always a pleasure.
Good to be with you. Thank you.